Trigger warning, spoiler alert. Are you great? You are experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. Are you great? Are you a great blank? That will be the question answered today on the show. I will say I am a great podcaster. The numbers may not reflect it, but in my heart, I know this podcast is great. This is the podcast where the offbeat come to meet. This is the podcast that owns the midlife crisis. This is the podcast where if you are in some form of transition and you are looking to laugh and grow, you know, this is the place where I think we do that, and we do that well. I will tell you about another podcast where I'll at least air the video of, if not actual clips from. I did a podcast where I brought my big TV, my professional TV camera. It's a Sony, they call it a prosumer camera. It's a 4K camera. I bought it when I was doing those ABC News pieces. It's big. It's heavy by today's standards. It has an external microphone. It has a plug-in for a wireless microphone, and it's arguably just a little bit better than using an iPhone to record. And I took the Pro camera and the heavy tripod that holds it up to the LOL Comedy Club, the club where I've been working a lot lately, that I've been talking so much about lately, and did a podcast as the audience was leaving, and it was on West 46th Street as other people were walking by on the week between Christmas and New Year's. The energy on the street was amazing. And I may air leftovers of this show at the end of this because I don't know where to put them. But it was a fun show. It was a little bit of funny crowd work. I met a family, and then I got to a point where I met two beautiful 25-year-old women. They were African-American. One was from Ohio. One was from Brooklyn. Both went to, I forget which ones, but both went to, I believe, historically Black universities. And I just mentioned that to talk about the beautiful confidence they had. Both were engineers. I think they were both computer engineers. And we had a conversation that was me. You know, I would say there were almost moments where I was being flirty and borderline icky, where I was trying too hard to flirt. And they were sort of shooting back. And that would have wound up on the editing room floor. And then there were a couple of moments where we had a powerful conversation that would have been great for this show. The problem is I forgot to hit record. It's not even that I forgot to hit record. I screwed up hitting record. I recorded the time as I was setting up the camera, and then I recorded a few seconds after the conversation. And you could even see a moment where I go, oops, it's...
You might need to raise the camera a little bit.
You know what? What's that? Can I? Oh yeah, because what is it going down? It's not recording right now. Oh, it is recording. Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't. I screwed up hitting record. You could see on these old, what we would now call an old-fashioned camera, the button goes under your thumb, and I screwed up. And I screwed up a basic question: are you great? In the middle of this conversation, we were just talking about inner confidence. I was trying to talk the two women into going to see the next show that I was on. And one of the women, Jasmine Kaylee or Kaylee Jasmine, I can't remember which, of Bushwick, Brooklyn, asked, "Are you great? Are you a great comedian?" And I paused. I started putting in my disqualifiers. "Oh, I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good." And then she's like, "Well, no, then you're not great. Great comics know they're great." And her line was, "I don't," but I'm like, "Well, I'm not famous. I'm not this." And then she goes, "Yeah, well, that doesn't matter." Her line was, I've met other comedians, and even the ones that aren't famous, they say they're great. I go into the show and they make me laugh. And yeah, I choked on the question, are you great? Now, when people ask me about this podcast, is the podcast great? It's poorly branded, it's poorly defined, but I think this podcast is great. I think I'm a great audio personality. If you're into the idea of an NPR-like storytelling, deep conversation, I am great. And even there, I just added 3 disqualifiers before confidently looking into the web camera and saying, I am great. And we've talked about blue collar guilt on the show. I don't know if we may not have used the phrase also Catholic humility, Irish, Italian Catholic humility, where you're almost afraid to, when you're growing up, you don't want to make anybody feel bad by saying you're great. Maybe that implies they're not. And I've had that happen in comedy clubs where I'll go in and say, I am great at this, this, and this. And I've had people go bat poop crazy and want to kill me over that. When I said, I'm better than you at this. So now I kind of just keep to myself with that opinion. But are you great? I got knocked on my ass by that question. I asked on December 30th to my Facebook friends at TomKellyShow. Feel free to follow or even join our secret Facebook group. Are you a great blank? I was asked, are you a great comedian? And I choked. I'm going to do a show on a theme, and I wanted your input. If someone asked you if you're a great whatever, what is your answer? And you know what, man? I'm a great, by the way, if you heard that chime, I just got an Amazon delivery in the building, it sounds like, or something's on the way. But am I a great podcaster? Yes, I think I have actually reached some people. It may not be large, but we have a community of people that talk to each other, that help each other out, that lift each other up, and hit like on all my posts on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and whatnot. Am I a great son? Yeah. You know what? I visit mom once or twice a week. I call a few times a week. I was a great grandson for sure. I work at being a great uncle, and there are criteria for that. But let's go to what I asked first. Am I a great blank? Are you a great blank is the question. And just looking through some of the things, Matt St. Pierre. So I've been told by many a person, especially my mom who loves me, it disarms everyone I meet, and they are putty in my hand. So that's kind of cool to have the disqualifier sentence there. Ryan Kitchell, who is a scientist, he said, heck yeah. Granted, it's much harder to verify than a comedian. When you say, if you say yes, then they're going to want something funny right after. You're right. It's not like I'm going to say, hey, Ryan, you're a great scientist. Yeah, well, go cure cancer, Tommy Doran has my answer. I try to be a great person, but I'm sure at times I fail. I think I actually am a great human being. I've been every night. I was taught this in the 4th grade by a woman, Mrs. Riley, who was the 4th grade teacher. Mrs. Riley taught us to pray to be a great person in your prayers. Judy, little Judy. Haven't heard from little Judy in a while. Little Judy, I'm a great listener, which is super important quality for a therapist. And that's a great one. Geez, how do you judge being a great therapist? And that gets into my thing for being a comedian. What are the criteria for being great? I haven't had a network special. I'm not working even at writing the 1 hour road special. I actually had this moment over the last couple of days. I am doing a couple of days of warm-up work at a show that used me a few times and then did not use me a few times. It's not the big ones. It's not the ones you guys know. But I had a great line, which was they replaced Mozart with Vanilla Ice. And yeah, you get into that. I know I'm a great warm-up comedian. And I say that without hesitation. And there are a few extra qualities that I am great at producing Tom Kelly. My friend Jeanette does not like to say she is great. I would not say I'm great at anything. That's not for me to say. Now that's another one. Oh, that's a great word. See, now that's where you get into my thoughts on the word great. Though, is it for you to say you are great, or will history decide? I think what Jasmine Kaylee, the beautiful Jasmine Kaylee, said was you have to decide for yourself. Cole Cather, I would say I'm good enough to make a living at it. And yeah, now you get into that. I am good enough to get paid to be funny. And I say that to my brother all the time when he says I'm not funny. And I'm like, well, luckily, Mickey Mouse and iHeartRadio disagree with you. You know, my friend Tracy Athanasson in Florida says, I would say, hell yes, I am a great teacher. Now, Tracy also is recognized by the state of Florida as being one of the best teachers in the state of Florida. So she has like a little certificate on her wall that says she's great. I don't, or do I? Do you need outside validation? My friend Al, I know who that is. Yeah, my friend Al says, my response is, well, people pay me to do it. And then I like this answer from Carrie Maltese, who I went to college with, and she was kind of like a high energy, positive nut job. I remember taking communications classes with her and her deciding I didn't want to work in communications anymore. And then she said, I wanted to be a college admissions counselor. I think she did that for 2 years and then wound up becoming a big shot in NBC Human Resources. And she wrote a beautiful answer, and I hope she doesn't mind me reading it on the podcast. Your answer should depend on who is asking you or who's asking you. She spelled who's wrong. If it's an audience member, you can say, I'm as great a comedian as you are an audience member. If you don't have a good answer to a question, you can always treat it like a fortune in a fortune cookie and add in bed to the end of it. Are you a great comedian? In bed. I'm sure you can make a few jokes with that. Now, what's interesting is Carrie is big in hiring people for a living. I haven't seen her in years. I wonder, do you ask that on a job interview? Are you a great cameraman are you a great camera person? Are you a great videotape operator? Are you a great accountant? Whatever the question is. And do you have an answer for that? Anyway, Carrie then says, to answer your direct question, I like to be quiet with my self-doubt and vocal with my self-praise. We need to put it out into the universe, what we aspire to become. And maybe if we hear self-praise often enough, we will begin to believe it. And I think that is the final answer for my part. I mean, listen, this podcast is about me owning the self-doubt and going forward. Would this podcast be better if I said, I'm a great comedian, like Howard Stern, king of all media. I'm the king of all media. I'm the king of all podcasts. Do I need to be more of a dick to bring people in and be a dick about, I'm going to play a clip just because I want to make this a full 20-minute podcast. I did a great interview with a comedian, Gianmarco Cerezi. And Gianmarco, funny comedian. And I asked him on the last episode of the Tom Kelly Show, are you a great comedian? If somebody came up to you and said, are you a great comedian? What's your answer to that? Quick, gun to your head. Hey, Gianmarco, are you a great comedian?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I think like that I think of some comedians who I find astounding. It depends on where your words are, but I think this is what I do the best. I know how to make a tough room come together, and yeah.
But I like Carrie Maltese's answer for myself and for everybody else. First of all, actually, I think the really great answer is from the movie Ghostbusters at the end. When a ghost asks you if you are a god, you say you are a god. My friend Chris Delanek had a great line. If someone asks you if you are VIP, you say you are VIP. And I like Carrie's answer, ladies and gentlemen. I like to be quiet with my self-doubt and vocal with my self-praise. We need to put out into the universe what we aspire to become. And maybe if we hear self-praise often enough, we will begin to believe it. And I believe I am a great comedian. I know I am a great podcaster. I know I am a great man worthy of my dream person in a romantic relationship. And I know I am a great comedian worthy of you, the listener. I want to do a couple of quick shout outs here. Quick shout outs to Magic Mirror Time, Steve Laszlo, ICU, who said simply yes, that he is great. To Mr. McGarrigle, simply saying, yes, I am great. To Ed Hamilton, who says, I try to be great at everything I do. And to Anna Rivera Williams, who said she is a great friend. And to Verna and Nancy and Cole and Judy and Shelley and Mike Lambiaso and Tommy Doran, thank you guys for your attention on this thread. Thank you guys for listening. Share the podcast with a friend. And if you get a chance, join our secret Facebook group where you can say hi to our friend Ryan W., who is in the hospital this week. And Ryan, we're saying an old-fashioned Hail Mary for you and 2 Hail Marys for your mom, who has to put up with you while you're sick. All right. New podcast generally on Mondays and Tuesdays, but twice a week for sure. Next week, Dante Nero. Be sure to listen to that. And we have some great episodes that could use some love. Comment on the YouTubes. Share what you can share. Show love where love can be shown, not just with sharing this podcast, but with each other. Good night, New York.